Welcome back to the Andrea Giovino Show. And today we have a special guest, Toby and I, Natalie Pantaleo, Lying Down with Dogs. Natalie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Natalie.
It's so fun to be on this side of the
Yes.
podcast table for a minute.
So I was excited to have you on because Lying Down with Dogs, based upon your experience in working at one of the most famous restaurants in Philadelphia, the Saloon.
That's right. That's right. At first, I tried to keep it under wraps, and my book is called The Tavern, but it's the Saloon. I mean, everybody that's in it's proud to be in it, even though it's been fictionalized to protect the innocent and the guilty.
Is the Saloon basically a mob hangout, a Philly mob hangout? What kind of?
There were factions. Anybody who was anybody in Philadelphia was in the Saloon at one time, especially in its heyday. I tell people that in the 90s there was a restaurant renaissance in Philadelphia, but prior to that, the Saloon was one of the best places to go, and it's actually still really great. So there was anybody, if you were a mobster, if you were affluent truck line owner, if you were Leonard Toast who owned the Eagles, and every movie star, every sports celebrity was in there. And
Okay.
I waited on so many famous people. Just in sports alone, Joe Frazier, Dr. J, Charles Barkley,
So
Doug
it's
Stolten.
very well known.
Yes, Joe Torre. He was one
Okay.
of my favorites.
Can you tell me a little bit about the book?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I got to the Saloon, I was 19 years old, so I didn't think I was naive till I got there. I had no idea, and I grew up 10 blocks south of the Saloon. I had no idea the power play and the money and the,
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I had no idea. And when they say, well, there was a lot of wealthy men in there, and the Saloon is notorious for an all-female staff. So there was no coincidence in that. It was sort of a brilliant proposition. But I had no idea what the power plays that went on and the affluence and the money and who was using who, actually, because it was one of the most lucrative jobs you can have in Philadelphia, and the positions were coveted. So I had so many experiences with the women I worked with the customers that came in who became our friends. The Saloon blurred the lines of social status. So the wealthy people that came in there, predominantly men, became our friends, and we got invited to parties, and similar to some of the experiences you shared in your book, which was great. But when you start to become a student of it and watch it play out, so I will say, when I got there, I was this naive young girl that was shocked. Then I got indoctrinated into it, and then I came out
You
the other
become
side.
comfortable then.
So, yeah, you lie down with those, you get a little couple of fleas sometimes, and then it's good storytelling.
I have a curious question. I've been to this restaurant. Excellent. I believe it's like 4.7 out of 5 stars.
I haven't been there, but I have to
Take
go.
you.
Top-notch place. I believe it's on like a regular block. It's
Yes.
not in no big major
Right.
tourist area.
Yep.
But it is a very well-known place.
Right.
Ironically, the alleged former mob boss, Joey Merlino, on his podcast or on social media has recently displayed that it's one of the best restaurants in Philadelphia. And it's the truth. It is one of the
Well,
best
I guess
restaurants.
if Joey said it, then I'm going.
Well, you need to go. It is very
No,
good.
I
I've been
am.
there.
Yeah,
But-
George Martirano
George
always
Martirano,
tells
our
me,
mutual
yeah.
friend. Well,
Yes.
Joey just posted on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was cutting into a filet mignon, which is, everything there is excellent still to this day. But I remember being a kid and seeing Joey riding his 10-speed before
Okay.
either of us were in the Saloon.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, a curious question that I have, and I think you're going to appreciate this question, Ma, that I'm about to say, is so you have celebrities and you have mob guys. Now, I know why you made a lot of money working in the Saloon.
Oh,
Right.
Okay, who were the better tippers?
Definitely the mob guys.
I was just going to say that.
Hands down.
Yes.
Listen, I got $100 for giving somebody, a well-known person, a glass of water once. Honest
Yeah.
to God.
No, but mob guys know how to spend
Yes.
because they live for today
Right.
and they're big spenders.
Right.
And the fact that you worked in a restaurant in the heart of the Philadelphia Mafia in that era, which was much bigger than it is now.
Yeah.
Guys that were mob guys and guys that were affiliates and guys that were wannabes are all going to come in there and they're
Right.
going to drop the C notes like
Yes,
crazy.
Exactly.
So who were some of the major players in the mafia that you seen walk through there? Because I know you've seen guys,
Right.
coming in and out of there.
Right. Well, we already mentioned Joey and his crew because they were the younger guys coming up. It was the Scarfo era, so there were sometimes there were people from that clan that came in. But I have to tell you, in an ironic twist of fate, the mob guys probably raised the bar because when you walked in there, you knew you had a tip, and if you didn't tip, you waited hours for a table.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
people knew the deal in there. You know, so I would have to say that the worst tippers were the golf course.
Professionals.
Yeah, they were
People-
like they didn't catch on or something, or they didn't
Yeah.
care or whatever. You know,
They say the cheapest ones are the like corporate, like even doctors.
Yeah.
They don't tip
Right.
as big as, I guess, because they probably work harder for their money than a mob
Right.
guy does.
or maybe somebody's checking their receipts if you're gonna turn it in for
Oh,
you can
yeah,
only
yeah,
get
that could-
capped off at something.
that-
But I'll tell you, back then, it was a money place no matter what side of the fence you were on, legit or not.
People know you
legit.
have-
It was-
People know you got to spend.
Yeah, my most lucrative shift there was a lunch shift. I was the hostess. I had to be in at 11:15. Say, I got $50 from the house for showing up under the table. There was no busboy on the shift, so the three other servers, who were all waitresses, all female, would kick in like $10 each, and you would help them a little bit. The place, I swear, there was Thursdays where there was not even. It was a Thursday. Not a woman anywhere in there, and I would leave there at 2 o'clock with $400 sometimes in my pocket. I was like, this is like the easiest money. So when I got out of college and got my first job, I couldn't leave the restaurant. I had to stay.
Right.
I made more
Yeah.
money there proportionally.
It's nice that
But
the-
you're talking $400 for a few hours worth of work back in what, the 1990s?
I started in
80s?
87.
87, 1987.
So it's not-
$400 was
Yeah.
a
a
lot
lot
of money
of
for a
money.
few hours.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
money. It's
right.
nice that you still connected and still go and hang back there.
Right.
You know, because
Yeah.
George told me that, I think he called me one night you were there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, at the
Yeah.
saloon.
And you know what's great going back there? I was in the bathroom. I was there like about, I must have been with George. It must
Yeah.
have been that night. I was in the bathroom, and I happened to remark to the girl next to me that it was just freezing in there. It was so cold. And she said, yeah, it's not usually this cold. I work here. And I said, I used to work here. She said, you did? And I go, yes, I wrote a book about it. She went, you're the author. I
Oh.
felt like, oh my God, only there, you know.
It's
She's
not-
like, customers all want the book. I said, well, I'll tell you where to get it.
That's so nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so nice. And it is nice when there is a landmark in the city
Right.
that people can talk about, and it's still there,
And it's still good.
and it's still good.
Yes,
you
still
know.
Still has
excellent.
great food.
You know,
And the vibe is great.
Mhm.
The vibe is great.
yeah, I definitely have to try it out.
Still signature all female staff. And you know, it's a funny thing, like when you
And you still have mob guys going in.
yeah, right. Right.
I don't know if there's any mob guys left in
No, right.
Philadelphia,
What's
but,
left of-
maybe there is.
Remnants.
Well, we
But it
got
was-
George Moderano.
Yeah, exactly. But they knew it was a place that it was cool, no matter if you were a mob guy or if you were just a guy, that was
regular
gonna
guy.
cheat, want to pick up a girl and whatever.
Right.
It was a place because it was cool.
So
It was
it,
like
it
everything.
wasn't like some places you go and it's like you got to worry you're going to get into some kind of confrontation.
Right,
Was
no.
it like that?
No, upscale, very.
Okay, so
elegant,
nobody's
white
going to fight.
linen tablecloths. Yeah, no, I don't think I ever saw customers fight. I saw waitresses fight
Yeah.
with each other, but
but not the
Yeah.
customers.
No, I never.
No, that only happens in New York.
Yeah, in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn.
I'm sure there's places in South
Yeah.
Philly.
Yeah.
In Brooklyn, they're very cliquey. They're just actually very territorial
Right.
of the surroundings, the restaurant. It's like you could have a table in a restaurant in Brooklyn, Italian restaurant, like mob guys sitting there, street guys, and like, guys walk in and they're like
Yeah.
already like, who's that?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
like that kind of edgy.
Yes.
Edgy.
Yeah.
It's a guy looking to get spaghetti meatballs and some veal
Yeah.
parmesan, but they want to know who
It's a
is
guy
it?
that's looking to eat. He's
Yeah.
hungry.
But
Yeah.
like your book, it was what was so fascinating was the power play that went on.
Yeah.
How the guys worked the girls with, the tips were very
Yeah.
inviting. and
Well,
being
I
invited to
worked at the
parties.
after hour club, and that was mob run. And back then, I was making really good money because they're big tippers. $100 is
Yeah,
nothing,
nothing.
to them. So I was, a single mom supporting my son, and that, it helps you. It definitely helps. Just a couple of nights a week, pays all
Right.
your bills and then some.
Yes, and it was fun too.
Right, and it's fun.
And you're on every invite list. And
Yeah.
tickets to concerts and front row seats at games and stuff like that.
That's it. That's it. So what's it like living in South Philly? I mean, South Philly, it's like a small New York to some degree.
Yeah. Yes.
Italians, a lot of Italians.
Yes, I don't live there now, but I'm back down there. I might as well be living there. I'm down there like 2 or 3 times a week. But what's really cool about my neighborhood is it become like a mini Greenwich Village because there's this faction of Italian Americans that are still in the neighborhood, especially the older women sweeping the streets and keeping it clean. But then there's like a whole hipster generation, and
So it's changed.
So it's changed, but in a good way. I'm not depressed to go back home.
Okay.
Some neighborhoods get so downtrodden you don't want to go back. I love going back. It's very eclectic now. All different kinds of restaurants and and the houses. I think my parents sold their house for back in the 80s for I don't know. They thought they made good money, $48,000. The house is
Now
probably
it
worth
must be.
$700,000.
Now it's probably worth a lot.
Exactly.
Oh my God, yeah. So, besides writing the book, I know you also started your own podcast.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that. What is the
I want to learn from you.
Oh,
Just getting started.
Thank you. It's you have to go with it. You have to
Yeah.
just keep grinding and grinding.
Right.
It's very competitive.
Yes.
That much I will say because it's everybody now wants to do a podcast.
Right.
It takes time to be monetized. I was lucky. I was monetized in 6 weeks because I had TV and all that going on. But for a regular person to try to start a podcast, the best suggestion I could say is that you have to stick with it. You have to have good content. The thumbnail is everything,
So true.
The thumbnail.
I noticed with people clicking on things, it comes down
You
to
know.
if the picture's inviting.
Yeah,
it's so true.
it's really. You want to give some input on that?
No, if I give too much input, I get kicked under the table. I get beat once the cameras go off. My mother might start attacking me and
that's
hitting
the
me if she
problem
doesn't
when you
like
work
what I
with your
said.
mom.
So that's,
Yeah.
that's
One
kind of what goes
time-
on behind the
Hey,
scenes over
actually,
here.
you should ask George. We were filming,
Yeah, your
and
buddy George Moderano
he was sitting
there.
right there. We were taping. We were filming. I asked him not to say something before we filmed because it was about a very dear friend of mine that had passed, and I wanted to keep it in a good light. He brings up the negative. I went nuts. They cut it. They should have never cut it. I started fighting with him, kicking him and everything. I threw the microphone at him.
The guy was a criminal doing life. This is a crime podcast, and I got into certain things that she didn't want to talk about. We're on a podcast, that's why I brought it up, and that's what we're talking about. And at the end of the show,
George was sitting there going, "Stop! Hold her back!"
it wasn't at the end of the show.
Passionate.
She told the guy to cut. That was videoing. Cut, and then I started getting kicked and hit.
I said, "Cut that! I don't want that in. I'm not going to bash him just because he's not here anymore. I'm a loyal friend. I would never do that." So we do have a lot of fun with the podcast.
That sounds like way more fun than my podcast.
No,
I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it.
People like to be entertained, so you try to get good, stories on. I've had all kinds of stories. I've started out as a crime podcaster, crime and entertainment, and it's gone more toward entertainment because I've had on actors and, like I've said, authors and movie producers, correctional officers from federal prisons. I do the whole. You have a good story.
Musicians, entertainers.
Yeah. Jay Chosen, that was on NBC, The Voice, contestant on that. I've had a lot of good, guests, and I meet a lot of people, here in New York City. Ahmad helps us get a lot of good guests on also. Right. So
I watched several of them.
you have to really just stay with it. You have to go with it, stay with it, and be patient because it does take time.
Right.
It's like building a business.
Yes. I told you I kind of fell into it because my publisher, the Awaken Press, Lindsay Dierking, they're out of Arizona. I had a newsletter that I would send out, and I started this like 6 months before my book, and then as the book came into publicity, I kept it going. And then there was a part of my life where my daughter was graduating high school. I was going to Europe on vacation. I was moving, and I just stopped doing the newsletter for a while. And she said, "Why did you stop the newsletter?" And I said, "Well, how much can I talk about my book?" And she said, "Are you kidding? they're still buying Catcher in the Rye. I could talk about it forever. But she said, you're a writer. You write a column. Interview other writers.
Right.
So I thought that if I could do a video interview and embed
Right.
it in this newsletter, that it would be interesting, more content.
Right.
I did it myself on Zoom, I was telling you, Andrea, and it was lousy. And a friend of mine, Kevin Hackenberg, who's a filmmaker, local filmmaker in Philadelphia, we're working together on a potential short film in my book, which will be called One Foot In. He said, we worked together on some other marketing projects as well. He said, Natalie, film it in my studio. I'll film it for you and bring it up to speed. I'm sorry, I'm moving around, you know, talking with my hands and moving away from the mic. So we started to do it in his studio in the test kitchen, and it just caught on. And I think I have about at least a dozen or 15 episodes now.
Nice.
So I release them every
Nice.
other week, and I guess it is entertainment would be the big umbrella, but
Yeah.
the theme is conversations with storytellers. Like you
Okay,
said, it doesn't have
okay.
to be someone who's a writer.
It doesn't.
If you have a story to
you
tell.
have a story to tell,
and you're a
and
good
it's a good
storyteller.
storyteller. Then
Yeah.
you know, you tell it.
And an open invitation for you both to come on my
Yes,
my
yes, we
podcast.
will.
Absolutely.
Yes, we will.
You have some stories to tell.
We have a lot of good stories to tell. We'll have to bring lots of changes of clothes.
Yeah, that's right.
But we'll close out with that. And thank you for coming on.
Thank
It's
you
a
so much for
pleasure.
having
Why don't
me.
you tell the audience where they can buy the book, where to find you, what's your contacts of, you know.
I'd love to. So it's lyingdownwithdogs.com is the website for the book. It's been distributed to 40,000 booksellers worldwide, so you could find that there are some links to Amazon, of course, and Barnes & Noble. You could find me at theinsideoutmarketer.com, Natalie Pantaleo, or the Inside Out Podcaster on YouTube. That's my YouTube channel. Hopefully you'll see these familiar faces sometime soon.
We will. And you're also on Instagram.
Yes, Instagram. Don't ask me my handle off the top of my head on there. Find me on the other places. You could link to Instagram from there.
Okay,
And
good.
thank you for the New York pizza.
Oh, yeah,
very
we've
good.
just so my guests
Delicious.
know I feed all my
Pleasure,
guests before they
pleasure.
actually come
Yeah,
on.
It's delicious.
We
Thank
always
you.
feed our guests before they come on. Thank you, Jesus, for giving me this platform, and we'll see you next time. Press
that
that
button.
subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe. See you then. Okay.